Hey guys, you're watching Phone Arena side-by-side video comparison of the Apple iPhone 3GS and also the HTC EVO 4G. You probably just checked out our recent side-by-side comparison with the Droid Incredible and the EVO 4G. But this time around, we're just going to take a look at Apple's pride and joy. We all know that the iPhone 4 is going to be coming out shortly, but we're just going to show you the 3GS, how it compares with the HTC EVO 4G, just because it's currently available on the market. Alright, so we'll just get right into it, and I'm just going to talk about the design of both handsets and how they stack up against one another. Just from a quick peek right now, you can see that the HTC EVO 4G is a really mammoth device. It's pretty large as compared to the iPhone 3GS, which in fact actually retains the same design and look of the iPhone 3G, which was released 2 years ago. The thing we like about the iPhone is a little bit more curved. We definitely like the materials they use. There's a has a premium feel to it. The chrome bezel that outlines the device still accents it very well, and even though it uses this black glossy plastic, which does attract a lot of fingerprints and smudges, it does well in protecting the device. It's a pretty durable material, so it's just constructed fantastically. As far as the EVO 4G, as you can see, it's a larger size screen, a little bit more bulkier, especially if you have smaller fingers, smaller hands. You definitely feel this device to be really packing a lot of weight to it. It's surprisingly thin when you compare it to the iPhone 3GS, even though the 3GS is slightly thinner, but considering that it has a large size screen and a lot of internal hardware that's really high end, it's amazing to see how much they pack in. Of course, the industrial design is there. It's all flush pretty much on the surface. It has a pretty good feel, quality material to it. Mostly plastic, and we do like the soft touch matte material they use in the back with the kickstand, which makes it a little bit stand out more than other devices out there. But overall, both devices have a unique look that make them quite appealing to a broad range of users, and undoubtedly they'll continue to do that just because they stand out amongst everything else out there. Now, the biggest difference, obviously, is just the screen sizes. Now, the iPhone 3GS packs a 3.5-inch HVGA display that has support for up to 16 million colors. So even though the colors jump out quite extravagantly, detail, though, is not as great as the HTC EVO 4G. But again, if it's a 3.5-inch display, it's more than adequate. And in direct sunlight, we really didn't have too much issues viewing it. And the greatest thing that we like about the iPhone 3GS, it has that oliphobic coating, so it resists smudges and also fingerprints. So as soon as we take it out of our pockets, it always looks pristine and brand new. Now, the biggest draw to the HTC EVO 4G is, of course, its 4.3-inch WVGA display that truly separates it from most devices out there. Now, the only thing that we didn't like about it is just that it supports only 65,000 colors as opposed to the iPhone 3GS's 16 million. But to tell you the truth, you really don't notice it too much in the eye, but you do notice the fact that it has a little bit better quality. You could read out text a lot better than the iPhone 3GS, even if it's very small. At the same time, when you use it outdoors, it's perfect. It has pretty good brightness overall, and we really didn't have too much of an issue viewing it in outdoor conditions as well. Now, being a newer handset definitely has its advantages, and it's clear that the HTC EVO 4G has a lot of stuff under the hood that makes it trump the iPhone 3GS. Now, the first thing is it has a 1 GHz Snapdragon processor to make the experience run pretty fast on the handset. It also has a micro HDMI port, so you connect it to a television or something and watch your videos. Touch-sensitive buttons, just like what we've seen on other Android handsets. And on the top, you have a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera, so you can do video chat or also take self-portraits. And finally, in the back, you have the 8 megapixel autofocus camera with dual LED flash, just to complete the overall experience. On the other hand, the iPhone 3GS has been available for almost a year now, and of course its specs have been easily surpassed by other handsets, but when it was first released, it was actually quite impressive. So real quick, it had also, the iPhone 3GS still utilizes the same exact hardware button on the front to bring you back to the home screen. Everything else remains pretty much intact. You have your proprietary charging port here, your volume rocker, your vibrate switch, unlock and on your power button, your 3.5mm headset jack, and of course on the back you have the 3 megapixel autofocus camera. As it stands right now, the HTC EVO 4G is running Android 2.1 with the Sense UI running on top of it. And to say the least, Sense UI is definitely one of our favorite customizations right now for Android, just because it integrates a lot of social networking stuff directly on the handset. For example, you have Friend Stream here, so you can actually view all your friends' status updates on Facebook and also Twitter. And you can even respond there. As a whole, Android has a lot of personalization, so you could change things like different live wallpapers to give really eye-catching looks, and also a lot of different icons or even widgets to just personalize it to your taste. The only thing with Android is that there is a lot of learning curves, as there's like the menu button you got to press for different applications. But after that, after a while of getting used to it, it runs pretty smooth, and we definitely like the productivity aspect of it, as you could run multiple apps, do multitasking, and very large screen, so you could type away messages if you want to. Overall, it's just a fantastic platform on the device. Now, from a quick glance, the iPhone 3GS might be running the same exact platform that the original iPhone was running back in 2007, but there's a level of detail that's paid attention to, specifically just the fluidity and also intuitiveness of scrolling. As you can see, it's uniform throughout everything that you do. When you're scrolling between the icons here, it's very smooth. There's no lag or choppiness associated with it. Even when you're scrolling long listings, it's able to keep up pace, and it has this very smooth and rich animation to it. And on top of that, it has also probably the best on-screen QWERTY out there. It's quite usable, quite responsive, and of course with the predictive text options makes it quite usable, to say the least. Now, the only thing that's missing with the iPhone 3GS is of course multitasking and personalization, but hopefully iOS 4 is going to solve all that when it comes out very shortly. Now, web browsing is pretty good on both devices, and right now we're connected through 3G to AT&T and also Sprint, but we did notice that the EVO 4G loaded up our site a lot faster than the iPhone did. But the unique thing about the iPhone is, of course, you still notice that it's quite smooth when you're zooming in and scrolling. It has a very fluid nature, and there's also kinetic scrolling going on, but we find that the iPhone 3GS does a better job as far as web performance. Granted, though, the EVO 4G has some flash elements enabled right now, so you could view certain content, but we just like how the iPhone 3GS automatically adjusts the text on the screen to fit the width, so it makes it really easy, and again, it has that really good motion to it when you're scrolling. With the EVO 4G, though, it does have a little bit slight lag, but it's not really that bad. It's quite tolerable, to say the least. The other thing is that it always resizes the text to the length of the page, so if you zoom in different levels, it automatically will change it. It's nice, and again, thanks to its detailed display, it makes the experience pretty good. For anyone that enjoys taking photos, either handset is pretty good when it comes to that aspect, but the EVO 4G slightly trumps the iPhone 3GS just because it has a newer and also higher megapixel count of 8 megapixel camera as opposed to the 3 megapixel one that's found in the iPhone 3GS. But of course, it comes down to optics and what kind of images it produces. When we just zoom in this image here that we took with the EVO 4G, it actually shows a little bit more detail than anything else. For starters, you can see some fine details such as the stems and the leaves, and it produced even better, slightly better natural colors. When it comes to nighttime shots or indoor shots, the EVO 4G did slightly better, again just because it has the dual LED flash with it. On top of that, taking videos, the EVO 4G again has 720p capture capability, but we found that the iPhone slightly had better frame rates when previewing the videos. For making phone calls, the EVO 4G did an exceptional job. We just like the natural sounding voices we got out of it. And on top of that, the speaker was a little bit louder than what we found on the iPhone 3GS. With the iPhone, though, we did notice that there was some static in our phone calls and our callers, but it's still quite passable. It didn't really ruin too much of the experience. Battery life is always going to be a concern on any smartphone, so usually you get 1 day's use would be more than sufficient for some people. Luckily, the iPhone 3GS does that. From the time we woke up to the time we went to bed, it managed to retain a charge, and it still we had it set to its middle setting. Where on the EVO 4G, we managed to get a good working day's use out of it, meaning like a 9 to 5 before it required a charge. Again, Android just has a little bit more multitasking and also running apps in the background. We could have saved more battery juice if we didn't have it set to search for 4G connectivity too. So just the way you optimize the handset, you get a pretty good, decent life out of it too. So there you have it, guys. That's pretty much it as far as the side-by-side comparison goes. Depending on your taste and your specific needs, either handset could be the perfect solution for you. For the iPhone 3GS, we do like the fact that it retains that classic look, quality of materials, and also design. And the mobile platform proves to be still quite in contention. It's very quick. There's a lot of uniformity to it, and for web browsing, it's a phenomenal device. And also for multimedia, and the ever-growing app store is always just increasing, so you'll never be tired with any apps. With the HTC EVO 4G, the industrial design is of course a key element that you see at a lot of HTC's product, but a lot of features such as the 4.3-inch display, the front-facing camera for video chat, and also the 8-megapixel camera that shoots 720p. There's a lot of compelling features to make it one unique device, and of course 4G capable if you're in an area that has coverage. So if you'd like to learn more about either handsets or for all latest cell phone reviews, news, specs, and information, you can check us out at phonearena.com.